haven't used the bomb yet and are curious to see if...
Yeah, honestly, you know, like, I don't wonder what a bomb does, chat. You know, wow. Surely, you know, it's not something devastating and stuff. You know, ha ha ha. Ha ha.
It works, so they drop it on Japan. They actually dropped 2.
Real quick, before we begin with the video, I have a huge announcement to make. So, I was reached out by Makeshift with a chance to make our very own PIPLUSHIE Girl Trainer plushie. Basically, the gist of it is, if we get 200 people to pledge that they want one, this thing right here is gonna become real. Look at it, isn't it great? So please, I would appreciate really, really much if you were to pledge here. Thank you. Okay, let's watch History of Japan. I've never seen this, so could be very interesting.
Japan is an island by the sea filled...
I actually don't know anything, like... because I'm European, I can only know European history. I genuinely have no idea about the history of Japan.
...with volcanoes and it's... In the year -1 billion, Japan might not have been here. In the year -40,000, it was here, and you could walk to it. And some people walked to it. Then it...
You could walk to it? That's how they got to it, because it had land, chat. It had land, man. Yo.
Got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees. Because it's
Damn.
warmer.
Wait, so does that mean Japan is gonna sink one day? Is it just gonna be completely taken by water eventually? But maybe,
So now there's people on the island. They're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees.
That's
and
what happened to
using the
Britain
latest
too.
technology, like stones and bowls. Ding dong, it's the outside world, and they have technology from the future, like really good metal and crazy rice farms. Now you can make a lot of rice really, really quickly. That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of food, which is something everybody needs to survive. So that makes you king. Rice farming and rice kingdoms.
Damn, true meritocracy back then, chat. True meritocracy. If you make the most rice, you're king. None of this bullshit of like being born into a family or being like God chosen. You made the good rice. You control.
All the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, 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 and here. But this one was the most important. Ruled by a heavenly superperson, or emperor for short. Knock knock, get the door. It's religion. The new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion from Biekt. Please try this religion, he said. No, said everybody. Try it, he said. No, said everybody again, quietly this time. And so the religion was put into place, and all the rules that came with it.
Is this real? Chat, Grok, is this real?
Over by another clique. And they made some reforms, like making the government govern more, and making the government more like China's government, which is a government that governs more. Hi, China, they said. Hi, dipshit, said China.
Damn. It's crazy how much bigger China is, though. Like, yeah. Yeah, it's real, just don't ask Grok. What do you mean? Grok is the best source of the information on the internet, on X, the everything app, the town square of the internet, chat. What do you mean?
China? Can you call us something else other than dipshit? Said Japan. What? Said China. How about Sunrise Land?
Oh, I have heard about the land of the rising sun in the description to Japan.
Said Japan. And they stole China's alphabet and wrote a book about themselves. And then they made
kanji.
lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves. Then they stopped moving the capital every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while, right here. And they conquered the north finally. Get that squared away. A rich hipster named Kukai is bored with modern Buddhism, visits China, and learns a better version, which is more spiritual. Comes back, reinvents the alphabet, and causes art and literature to...
So is this the simplified, the more like... Which one is this one? Which alphabet? I know there's the kanji, the katakana, and hiragana, and I'm not sure if there's another one, but...
Be great for a long time. And the royal palace turned into such a dream world of art that they really didn't give a shit about running the country. So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your shit from criminals?
True.
Hire a samurai.
Hell yeah! Epic samurais. Epic samurais. There are 3, I think.
Everyone started hiring samurai. Rich, important people hired samurai. Poor people who could not afford
So wait, the samurai were cops? Wait, never mind. Wait. Oh man. Oh
Samurai did not hire samurai. The samurai became organized and powerful. More powerful.
So they were just cops, man. Bro.
Powerful than the government, so they made their own military government. Here, they
Shogunate.
let the emperor still be emperor, but the shogun is actually in control. Breaking news, the Mongols have invaded...
Oh, that's what the shogun is. Ah, they were knights like in a feudal system. Ah, like a bodyguard for rich people. Ah, so it is like cops. Sorry.
China.
We've invaded China,
Said the Mongols.
Please respect us, or else we might invade you as well.
Okay, said Japan. So the Mongols came over, ready for war, and died in a tornado. But they tried again. And
Wait, really? In a tornado? Isn't that just like based RNG that you get invaded, just so happens the tornado takes them out? They just got that. They rolled a nat 20, goddamn.
nice time fighting with the Japanese, but then died in a tornado. Then the emperor...
That's
overthrows the
crazy. Typhoon. Ghost of Tsushima, then... Should I play Ghost of Tsushima?
shogunate. Then the shogunate overthrows
Twice!
him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shogunate. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants, that's fine. Now there's more art. Like painting with less colors, collaborative poetry, plays, monkey fun, tea parties, gardening, architecture, flowers. It's time for who's going to be the next shogun. Usually it's the shogun's kid, but the shogun doesn't have a kid, so he tries to get his brother to quit being a monk and be the next shogun. He says okay, but then the shogun has a kid. So now who's it gonna be? Vote now on your...
Damn. Well, I mean, if you give it to the brother already, then you snooze, you lose, future kid. You can't just be like, no takes it backseat, chat. No takes it backseat.
phones. And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and burned
Oh, they invented democracy.
down. The shogun actually didn't care. He was off somewhere doing poetry. And the whole country broke into pieces. Everyone is fighting with each other for local power, and it's anybody's game.
Jeez
Knock
Louise.
knock. It's Europe. No, they're not here to take over. They just want to sell some shit, like clocks and guns and Jesus. So that's cool,
Hell
but everyone's still
yeah.
fighting each other for control.
Wait, so back when Europe had guns and clocks and Jesus, they still didn't have that in Japan? What the hell? Bo. Damn, because guns are pretty recent, aren't they? So this is not that far behind. You're an isolated nation. Damn. See, I have no idea of the history of Japan.
Now with guns. And wouldn't it be nice to control the capital, which right now is
Hell
puppets
yeah,
with no one
guns.
controlling them. This clan is ready to make a run for it, but first they have to trample this smaller clan, which is in the way. Surprise, the smaller clan wins, and the leader of that clan steals the idea of
They
invading
shut
the
themselves
capital
off from
and
the
invades
world.
capital.
That's
And it goes very
crazy.
well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills
Now.
them, and that guy finishes
Now.
conquering Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords and made some rules. And now I'm going to
Wait, what did I say? What did I say?
halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills them, and that guy finishes conquering Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords and made
Rules: no having a sword or a gun, no climbing the social ladder, pay taxes. Bro, sounds to me like no freedom. America! America!
some rules. And now I'm going to invade Korea and then hopefully China, he said, and failed, and also died. But before he died, he told these 5 guys to take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan. And the 5 guys said, yeah, right, it's not going to be this kid, it's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups. And it's probably going to be this guy, who happens to be way more rich
Wow,
and
he's so
powerful than the
beautiful.
others. A lot of people support him, but a lot of people support not supporting him. They have a fight, and he wins, and starts a new government, right here. And he still lets the emperor dress like an emperor, and have very nice things. But don't get confused, this is the new government, and they are very strict. So strict they close the country. No one can leave, and no one can come in.
Jeez Louise, man.
Except for the Dutch, if they want to buy and sell shit, but they have to do it right here. Now that the entire country was not at war with itself, the population increased a lot. Business increased, schools were built, roads were built, everyone learned to read, books were published, there was poetry, plays, sexy times, puppet shows, and Dutch.
Damn. Some things never change, I guess, huh, Japan? Ha 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 ha. The production of art sure goes crazy, chat. Yeah.
Studies. People started to study European science from books they bought from the Dutch. We're talking geography, skeletons, physics, chemistry,
Skeletons?
astronomy, and maybe even electricity. Over time, the economic and cultural prosperity
Damn, I guess Japan was really behind on all this.
began to gradually slow down. Knock knock.
Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh, they're here. They're here.
United States, with huge boats, with guns, gunboats,
Gunboats.
opened the country Stop having it be closed, said the United States. There was really nothing they could do, so they signed a contract that lets the United States, Britain, and Russia visit Japan anytime they want. Choshu and Satsuma hated this. That sucks, they said. This sucks. And with almost very little outside help, they overthrew the shogunate and somehow made the emperor again and moved him to Edo, which they renamed Eastern Capital. They made a new government, which was a lot more Western. They made a new constitution that was pretty Western, and a military that was pretty Western. And do you know what else is Western? That's right, it's conquering stuff. So what can we conquer? Korea.
Oh,
They conquer
damn.
Korea.
They're like, no more keeping to our own. We're gonna go conquer shit. Damn. Damn. They got a taste of freedom. They got a taste of the American red, white, blue blood.
Korea, taking it from its previous owner, China, and then go a little bit further. And Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says, "Stop, no, you can't take that. We were gonna build a railroad through here to try to get some warm water." And Russia builds their railroad, supervised by a shit ton of soldiers. And then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a fuck ton. Did I say downgrade? I meant upgrade. And Japan says, "Can you maybe chill?" And Russia says, "How about maybe you chill?" Japan is kind of scared of Russia. You'll never guess who's also kind of scared of Russia. Great Britain. So Japan and Great Britain make an alliance together so they can be a little less scared of Russia. Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both get tired and stop. It's time for World War I.
Oh man, we reached the world wars, chat. Oh man.
To have a war.
Imperialism
because it's the 1900s
time.
and weapons are getting crazy, and all these empires are excited to try them out on each other.
Hell
Meanwhile,
yeah,
Japan has been
guns.
enjoying conquering stuff and wants more. And the next thing on their list is this part of China and lots of tiny islands. All that stuff belongs to Germany, which just had war declared on it by Britain.
How does
because
it all the way there belong to Germany?
Britain was friends with Belgium,
Germany.
which was being trespassed by Germany in order to get to France to kick France's ass because France is friends with Russia, who was getting ready to kick Austria's ass because Austria was
Jesus
getting ready to
Christ,
kick Serbia.
these relationships. Damn, they're like high school girls, chat. They're like high school girls.
Serbia's ass because someone from Serbia shot the leader of Austria's.
This is like when you do shipping charts for characters. So Jesse is in love with Bethany, but Bethany likes Jock. But Jock actually likes Jesse all along. But then there's Brock, and Brock is in love with Jock. But Jock is Jesse's brother. But they're in love with each other as well, incestuously. You know, just like that.
Yes, or actually shot him in the head. And Britain is currently friends with Japan. So you know what that means. Duh, Japan should take the islands. Which they wanted to do anyway. So they called Britain on the telly to sort of let them know.
Petty.
And then they did it. And they also helped Britain a little here and there with some errands and stuff. Now the war is over, and congratulations, Japan. You technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the negotiating table with the big
hell
dudes where
yeah.
they decided who owns what. And yes, Japan gets to keep all that shit they stole from Germany. You also get to join the post-war mega alliance, the League of Nations, whose mission statement is to try not to take over the world. The Great Depression.
Surely that will. Surely. Where's Romania? Romania doesn't really play a lot of roles in the geopolitical scale, okay? You know, Romania is just
It's
chilling.
bad, and Japan's economy is now crappy, but the military is doing just fine, and it invades Manchuria. In the League of Nations, it's like, no, don't do that. If you're in the League of Nations, you're not supposed to take over the world. And Japan said, how about I do anyway? And Japan
Damn.
invaded more and
Betrayal.
more and more of China.
Yeah, Romania is peak background character. You know, like a filler character that's in the back.
And was planning
This
to
didn't
invade
end
the entire
well.
East.
You've got mail.
It's from Germany, the new leader of Germany. He has a cool mustache, and he's trying to take over the world
Wow.
and needs friends. This also got forwarded to Italy. They all decided to be friends because they had so much...
Best friends, you know, this is just like the anime Italia, if you've ever watched it. A very wholesome anime about countries being friends.
common. It's time for World War II. Germany is invading the neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then the neighbors' neighbors' neighbors, who happened to be Britain, said, holy shit. And the United States started helping Britain because they are good friends, and started not helping Japan because they're friends and our friends are not friends. Plus they're planning on invading.
Yeah, do be like that, Chad. The drama. Yo, Fallon Brown, thank you for the prime. Thank you.
The entire ocean. The United States is also working on a large, very huge bomb, bigger than any other bomb, ever, just in case. But they still haven't joined the war. War looks bad on TV,
Big
and the
bomb.
United States is really starting to care about their image. But then Japan spits on them in Hawaii and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the United States also. So the United States goes to war in Europe, and they help the gang chase Germany back into Germany. And they also start chasing Japan back into Japan. And they haven't used the bomb yet, and are curious to see if...
Yeah, honestly, I do wonder what a bomb does, Chad. You know, wow. Surely, you know, it's not something devastating and stuff. You know, ha ha. Ha ha. Ha. Ha ha.
It works, so they drop it on Japan. They actually dropped 2.
You know, they did have to do it twice, it's true. You know, they weren't sure the first time. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, we don't really know the first from the first time.
United States installed a new government.
Yeah, I'd give up too, man. After 2 of those, I'd also throw in the towel, man.
Inspired by the United States government, with just the right ingredients for a post-war economic miracle. And Japan starts making TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders.
And Nintendo! Yowza!
As fast as they can, and also better than everybody else. They get rich, and the economy goes wild. And then the miracle wears off. But everything's still pretty cool, I guess. Bye.
That's crazy that we just watched a whole video about the history of Japan and there was no mention of anime.